Um, I hope I'm audible and then people can see my screen.
Yes, yes, we can.
So the lessons from Vamana Avatar. So as said, we are looking at 8th canto. Starting from 15th chapter, it goes all the way till 22nd chapter, almost 8 chapters. So the story begins like this. Mm, It's Bali Maharaj is mm, who's the main hero of this particular pastime. He's one of the Mahajans. He's an exemplary person for us to follow. So the story begins with he lying dead on the, and then Shukracharya is the Acharya, is the priest, is a Brahman, and then he takes compassion on him, and then he revives Bali Maharaj. And then with that particular gratitude, Bali Maharaj starts worshipping the Brahmanas. We see a lot of qualities here. Shukracharya is compassionate, of course, for some reasons, ulterior reasons. But Bali Maharaj on his side, he is having gratitude. This is very important. It's not the demons and demigods we distinguish by birth, but by qualities. And seeing here, Bali Maharaj is having that quality of gratitude towards Shukracharya and then worshipping the Brahmanas. Brahmanas are like who, are, very simple, austere, but having that divine, qualities. So Bali Maharaj understood, worshipping the Brahmanas is the source of power. So let's read. Shukadeva Goswami said, O king, when Bali Maharaj lost all his opulence and died in the fight, Shukracharya, descendant of Bhrugumuni, brought him back to life. Because of this, the great soul Bali Maharaj became a disciple of Shukracharya, began to serve him with great faith, offering everything he had. This is what, a demonic person tries to accumulate things for himself. But here we see the divine qualities, like offering everything he had, to the spiritual master. Maybe the spiritual master has an ulterior motive, but the relationship between the disciple and spiritual master is the same, so it holds. If no matter the spiritual master is wrong, but the disciple is having that full faith, that his surrender towards the spiritual master, the disciple will get benefit partially. So we have to be very careful whom we are choosing as spiritual master. So that will come in the later section of this. Then what happens? The Brahmana descendants of Brahmani were very pleased with Bali Maharaj, who desired to conquer the kingdom of Indra. Therefore, after purifying him properly, bathing him according to the regulative principles, they engaged him in the yajna known as Vishwajit. Okay, so here is very one important thing. Okay, now we said Bali Maharaj is such a great person, such divinely qualities, but he has desires. It's not that Bhagavatam is for the people who are completely, only Krishna conscious, no other desires. No, Bali Maharaj had desire that to defeat Indra. He's a demigod. And then most surprising thing today I was reading. Let's see in the next verse, what happens. When Bali Maharaj had thus performed the yajna, where the Brahmanas are encouraging him, Vishwajit yajna, advised by the Brahmanas, and had received their grace, the equipment for fighting, he circumambulated the Brahmanas and offered them obeisances. The most important thing, he also saluted Prahlad Maharaj and offered obeisances to him. You see what is happening here? Prahlad Maharaj, the greatest devotee, one of the Mahajans, and then we all saw the, Prahlad movie, Mahavata Nrsimha movie. So that particular Prahlad Maharaj is sitting in that particular yajna, giving blessings to Bali Maharaj that you will conquer the Devatas. You see here, So it's not that it's a honest fight. Bali Maharaj wants to have an honest fight with the Devas. So and he's having that spirit, okay, and then neither Prahlad Maharaj objected to it, and the Brahmanas are supporting it. It's a dharma yuddha, So you fight against the devatas, and then whoever is the victorious person, they will enjoy the kingdom. Okay, so it's all open, and Prahlad Maharaj is supporting here. Later, Prahlad Maharaj gives his blessings also. So it's very important. It's all open fight, So there's nothing wrong till this point. Now what happens? So now Bali Maharaj is empowered by all the blessings, all the yajna, blessings from yajna, blessings from brahmanas, ancestors. Now he goes for the war to the heavenly planet. And then he's at the footsteps of the heaven. And then he's blowing conch and everything. And then elaborate description comes how people are in heaven, everything is peaceful, but at the same time, people are so much engrossed in enjoying, happily with each other. Everything is so beautiful there. Everything is so suitable for sense gratification. But it's not always like that. In material world, even the most beautiful, most romantic, most blissful, pleasant thing is temporary. So that's what when they were in the complete bliss, all of a sudden they hear the horns, of the war, kettle drums and then everything. So everybody were like desperate. The women were desperate. What is happening? And Indra, so the duty of the Kshatriya is to protect the old, the children and the women. So Indra was, is a king. That is his first responsibility. How come? What happened all of a sudden? Bali Maharaj was dead. Is defeated. How come he came with a renewed energy? He's he's lost. Now, see the principle. Again, Indra takes shelter of his spiritual master. It's like taking shelter of a wise person, just like Bali Maharaj took shelter of Shukracharya. Indra is taking shelter of his spiritual master Brahaspati. What we are supposed to do? What is happening? How come Bali Maharaj came? So it's not always strength, it's wisdom is also very important. Time, place, circumstance. So if we have wisdom, so they can explain according to time, place, circumstance, what action needs to be taken. The action can be taken with strength, but what action needs to be taken comes from wisdom. The wisdom comes from association with senior devotees, reading scriptures, hearing from great personalities. So that is the embodiment of um, Brahaspati. So Indra understood. He took shelter of Brahaspati. What is happening? So Brahaspati was telling, you know, um, so Indra was asking, my lord, our old enemy Bali Maharaj was now has new enthusiasm. He's obtained such astonishing power. What we think that perhaps we cannot resist his prowess. Kindly inform me from where this particular strength is coming and what is the source of his enthusiasm. And then the most important thing, Brihaspati says, this is the talk of a wise man. So there is always right, and there is right beyond right. Yes, it's the duty of a kshatriya to fight, but there are times when you have to withhold your enthusiasm, kshatriya passion, and then act according to what is providence, current thing dictates. So this is what the wisdom given by Brahaspati. You know. So that this is he says that currently, your enemies, the Bali Maharaj and his crew, they are blessed by the Brahmanas. They did all the pious credits, they did all the pious activities. They did yajna, they are completely blessed. So, the providence is now favoring them. Now it's not your time. You will not be able to win. So why unnecessarily, engage in the battle? So it's not wise. So that's what was the advice of Brahaspati. So it's important. Sometimes we need to retreat and then understand the time, place, circumstance, and then take an action based on that. Or so guidance, action always need to be guided by wisdom, not just randomly. So that's what we can see here. 29. Neither you nor your men can conquer the most powerful Bali. Indeed, no one but the Supreme Personality of Godhead can conquer him. So there is a solution, how he can be conquered. For now, he is equipped with supreme spiritual power, and no one can stand, before, as no one can stand before Yamaraj, no one can stand before Bali. So the suggestion is, therefore, waiting until the situation of your enemies is reversed, you should all leave this heavenly planet and go elsewhere where you have not to be seen. Okay. And then he gives a suggestion also. Situation will be reversed means when Bali Maharaj loses his, Brahma Tejas. That means he tells when the same Brahmanas who empowered Bali Maharaj, you know, gets offended, so then Bali Maharaj will lose all his Brahma Tejas. So that is the time when you can conquer Bali. So that's the advice, So this is the importance of having a wise person on our side, So to calculate when to attack, strategy is always important than just brute strength. Okay, so that's what we see here. Brihaspati is giving the strategy. Now it's for you safe to retreat. So as suggested, so they all vacate the heavenly planet so that the Bali can come easily. So, and then there is no much harm. Now what happens? All the devatas, they are bereft of their opulence. And obviously, a mother feels very sorry for her children when they are not having that opulence. So now, back in the ashram somewhere, the mother of devatas, Aditi, sure, she feels very morose. What is happening? All my sons, they are not enjoying any opulence anymore. And many years passed by. It's not just for a short while. Many years, Bali and all the demons enjoyed the heavenly opulence. Okay, remember, it's not that always they with us. Bali had his time, in that sense. Now she's worried as a mother with a genuine thing. She's worried. And then who can console her? Her husband. Her husband went to the meditation, and then after a long while he returned. And then he saw things were not in the order in ashram. So he inquires, what happened? Are you not doing your duties properly? Did you not respect the guests? Or else did you not give charity to the beggars? What is happening? Or the Brahmins, what is happening? Anything wrong? He said, oh no, everything is good. The Yajna Kund is good. The Brahmins are always satisfied. But look, what else can be greater morals if the children are not happy? So this is what is the situation. And then here, Kashyapa is a great sage. He's a Prajapati. He knows, by his spiritual prowess, he knows, what is to be done and what is not. He tries to console Aditi. Look, these bodily attachment based happiness and distress, you should not take it seriously. These come and go. We have to rise beyond this. He tries to give a spiritual direction, um, but Aditi is beyond a stage where she can understand and appreciate the spiritual injections. She says, I understand, master, my husband, but I'm so much in grief looking at my children, so you need to say something. So here is the very important aspect. There is a very nice verse in our Bhagavatam. It's called Akama Sarva Kamova Moksha Kama Udarathi Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purushapar. We have desires or we don't have any desires, or we have desires for liberation or achieve some siddhis and everything. Whatever is it, So do devotional service to Krishna. So that is what is the prescription. So by doing that, everything will fall in place. Our desires will get satisfied, or our desires will be transcended. and then we will achieve peace. So ultimately, engaging in the service of Krishna is the key, though we have desires or no desires. So here, Kashyapa, as a matured spiritual practitioner, he understood. I tried to give philosophy to my wife, it didn't work. But now I have to give her some process by which there can be a peace and spiritual progress for my wife. So he suggested ritualistic vrata, means a 12-day vrata. So where you have to follow various regulations. But this is for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. And then this is called Payovrata. And he gives a lot of details, how you have to do, and then how you have to, how many times we have to bathe, and then you should not take any anxiety. But the most important thing is he tries to engage her in devotional service to Krishna, I think, and come out of any enviousness towards the people who created difficulties for her sons. This is the most important thing. Like you see the first verse here, Kashyapa is giving instructions to Aditi. During this period, one should not unnecessarily talk of material subjects or topics of sense gratification. For 12 days, imagine 12 days, imagine there is no WhatsApp or no reading of, no internet. It's like a digital fasting, detoxing, digital detoxing. Imagine a world like that. So no gossip. Just go into yourself, take Srimad Bhagavatam, take a book, do your reading, and do your work without internet. If that is possible, that would be great. One should be completely free from envy of all living entities. So this is a very difficult task to practice. But yeah, if you can do that at least for a day, so it's really tough. But that is the actual fasting. Today is Ekadashi. Today half day we fasted. It is easy. I mean, it's not difficult. To some extent, it is easy to fast from food. But how much it is difficult to fast from judging others, enviousness without enviousness. So this is the most difficult thing Kashyapa is, keeping for Aditi. Because Aditi may succeed, then she should not have envy towards the people who created problems to, Indra. So that is the most important thing. And one should be a pure and simple devotee of Lord Vasudeva. Simple devotee. You need not be a great devotee. You don't need to break, you don't need to do Akhand Kirtan, or you don't need to give big Bhagavad Saptas. No need. Just become a simple devotee. That's sufficient. That pleases Lord. And if Lord is pleased, everything is satisfied. So this is what Kashyapa is giving. A simple person, simple housewife can achieve perfection. And then this is the instruction of Payovrata. And then she does that very sincerely. And then he says, if you do that, the Supreme Person will very soon be pleased with you and will satisfy all desires. So ultimately, he directed Kashyapa. Kashyapa is a great person, so he directed towards Lord Vishnu. And let's see, Aditi takes seriously. Of course, her children are at stake. At the same time, she is a very chaste wife. So Aditi took that seriously and followed all the rules and regulations. And then Lord appears. Okay. Lord appears and says, you have prayed to me and properly worshipped me by performing the great Payovrata ceremony for the sake of protecting your sons. Now you see what Lord is saying. Because of Kashyapa Muni's austerities, I shall agree to become your son and thus protect your other sons. Okay, you did great job. Your things are fine, but I am blessing you because of your husband. You see, Lord always sees the connection. Lord always sees the lineage, the parampara. We directly approaching the Lord, and the Lord says, okay. But whom we are connected to, if we are connected to a great person, a great devotee of the Lord, it's easy to please the Lord. So Lord is reiterating this point that since your connection with Kashyapa, and Kashyapa is, a great austere person, a great knowledgeable person, I will satisfy your desires. Lord has already agreed to become her son. So this is what we need to always remind ourselves, that to please the Lord, we have to always take a subordinate position with devotees who have dedicated their lives for the service of the Lord, like Kashyapa Muni here. Okay. And then what happens? So Lord advises, now you serve your husband properly, and then everything will follow. So we think, now this is thing, how Lord appears, just like all babies appear in this world. Is it between the union between male and female? Like you see, so nicely explained. O king, as the wind promotes friction between two pieces of wood and thus gives rise to fire, Kashyapa Muni, whose transcendental position was fully absorbed in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, transferred his potency into the womb of Aditi. Okay, so this is how Lord, first of all, appears in the heart of Kashyapa. And then that potency, Lord, is transferred to, the womb of Aditi. It's not just by any physical union. So Lord doesn't need a physical union to manifest. So this is very important here. Just like, this transfer, how do we understand this? So many times, there are matter, matter needs physical medium for transfer, to transfer from one place to another place. Suppose subtle things like a teacher, a student approaches a teacher. He says that, sir, I'm not able to resolve this problem. Can you help me solve it? So, the teacher gives some tips. You do like this, you equate these things, and then you take these assumptions, and then the problem will be solved. And then the student applies those sincerely, and then the problem gets solved. Now, what happened? So the teacher impregnated the student with the knowledge. So there is no physical medium needed, so it is through hearing, and then the application, so when the student applies, so he gets the result. So there are not always physical mediums of transfer, but there are subtle mediums. So here, using the subtle medium, a Lord transferred the potency of the Lord transferred from Kashyapa to Aditi. Okay. So then, there are, of course, the glorification starts. So this is very important, So now Brahma glorifies, Brahma understands, because he's very, very close to Lord. Those who are very close to a particular person, you will understand, according to his movements, you will understand what he needs. Suppose I saw once, a spiritual master, he was garlanded. Now he's going to do Guru Puja to Srila Prabhupada. And then at his level, so they feel that when we are doing worship of Srila Prabhupada, because he's Prabhupada disciple, he cannot wear a garland because, yeah. So he removed his garland. And then he's looking for a place to keep the garland somewhere. Immediately his personal secretary understood, so Maharaj is looking for this. He went and then he picked up out of so many people. So what does this mean? One who is very close to a particular person, they can understand, what is he looking for, and then what is he doing, where is he going, and then everything. Similarly, Brahma understood, oh, now Lord is appearing in Aditi's womb. So sorry, he composes wonderful prayers. One of them is this, you know. So, my Lord, you are the original generator of all living entities, stationary or moving. You are also generating Prajapatis, Kashyapa. Oh, my Lord, as the boat is the only hope for a person drowning in water, you are the only shelter for the demigods who are now bereft of their heavenly position. So, this is what Brahma is making an appeal to Lord, that these demigods, they don't have any other hope. So just the analogy, so we can see that, so in the midst of an ocean, if you are lost, if you are drowning. So boat is the only hope. Similarly, in this material ocean, taking shelter of the holy names of the Lord and devotees. So that is our only hope. So this analogy is very, striking. We can try to meditate on that. So Lord appears. How does Lord appear? You know, so there's this wonderful description of the Lord. Lord appears in the four-handed form. Just whenever Lord appears, Shankha Chakra Gada Padma with all the beautiful jewelry and everything. But at the same time, so we see whenever we see a movie or we perform drama, on for all the festivals. And then we sometimes do Jagai Madhai or Hiranyakashipu and then everything. So we wear so much costumes, so we don't understand who is the person who really enacted that. So similarly here, Lord appeared as all this Shankha Chakra Katapatma everything, but he immediately transformed himself into a small, mendicant, a very young mendicant with shaven head and then everything. So, so this appearance of the Lord, it says, the Lord appeared in his original form with ornaments and weapons. Although this ever existing form is not visible in the material world, he nonetheless appeared in this form. Then, in the presence of his father and mother, he assumed the form of Vamana, Brahmana dwarf, a brahmachari, just like a theatrical actor. So Lord is entering into the particular pastime. When we are enacting a play, Jagai and Madhai, yeah, that rasa, if you have that rasa, no, so then all the people who are looking at the play, they'll feel very happy. So similarly here also, Lord, is entering into that mode of a small dwarf Brahman. So that he can interact with Bali Maharaj and then evoke a lot of feelings, not just in Bali Maharaj, but so many other surrounding people. So that's what Lord changed himself into young dwarf Brahmana. And then, yeah, this is the tithi given on the day of Shravana Dvadasi, which is tomorrow, the 12th day, right fortnight in the month of Bhadra. So Lord appeared in the Abhijit Lagna. So Abhijit Lagna is the mid of the day, exactly, something like that. So it's very auspicious. So now Bali Maharaj appeared, and then everybody, Vamandev appeared, and then everybody started giving their blessings. Lord Shiva, and then all others. Somebody gave them the deer skin, somebody gave them the kamandalo, somebody gave them the stick, and then the Yajñopavita, and then everybody gave different gifts. So now the thing is, Bali Maharaj, Vamandev is equipped with all this. Now he goes to the sacrificial arena where Bali Maharaj was conducting this particular, big sacrifice. So, and then here it comes how Bali Maharaj is welcoming people. Bali Maharaj is open, all the Brahmanas and then everybody. So he washes the feet of, Vamandev. And then so he sprinkles. So the washing of the feet, it's like it's very auspicious. And who respects the water that is washing the feet of the Lord? So that is Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is one of the great Mahajans. He knows how much it is valuable. That water that washes Lord Lotus feet, Lord Vishnu's lotus feet. And then in the similar fashion, Bali Maharaj is following the footsteps of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is a Mahajan, and therefore he is following the footsteps of a Mahajan. So Bali Maharaj also becomes a Mahajan. So just like Lord Shiva is respecting the Charanamrit, Lord, here Bali Maharaj is also respecting Charanamrit. So yeah, you see, being aware of religious principles, Bali Maharaj knew this, means washing the lotus feet of the Lord. Consequently, following in the footsteps of Lord Shiva, he also placed on his head the water that had washed the lotus feet of the Lord. Okay. So now Bali Maharaj welcomed, And when Vamana actually entered the arena, so there are all the Brahmins, assembled there. They are all already, we saw, no? What was the greatness of Bali Maharaj? He has a Brahma Tejas because all the Brahmanas blessed him. So he's so much effulgent. Now, when Vamana entered, it's like a sun, entering. And then when the sunlight is there, all the stars, and then their light gets, overpowered. So all these Brahmanas, Brahmatejas became overpowered by Vamana. So they all were, very much astonished. Sun God himself came. So that's what is their thing because they are Brahmanas, so they like the Brahman effulgence. So Bali Maharaj effulgence was also overpowered. So the Brahma Tejas is gone. Bali Maharaj power is gone when Vamana entered. So and then he's now he asks, okay, he gives an offer. Bali Maharaj, okay, we welcomed you. You're a Brahmana. What do you want? You're a small young Brahmana. You want a good house. You want a nice Brahmana girl to get married. You want to settle down. You want a lot of gold. You want land. You ask, So that is the genuine offer because, and then what Bali Maharaj wanted is, if you are asking me, it should be that you should never ask anybody else. Means you should be completely satisfied for the rest of your life. So that's what Bali Maharaj is having, that identity that I am the provider. Aham, I am the provider. I am the in charge of all these opulences. I am giving you the charity. So this is something which Vamanadev wanted to address. Indra has having his own set of issues, but Bali has some more issues. And then Bali is dear to Lord Bali Maharaj because he's a great devotee. So Lord wanted to address these things, very subtly. We don't know. Sometimes we think we are wearing dhoti kurta, we are chanting our 16 rounds. We are great people. But there are some things which we have to work on. And then Lord has his own way of addressing those things. And sometimes it may be painful, just like Bali Maharaj. But, you know, following the footsteps of Bali Maharaj, we can, go ahead, walk through our way. So Vamana is very intelligent and very sensitive, Lord Vamana. When he comes into the arena, when he talks, he respects his lineage. Bali Maharaj is a king. You should know how to talk with a king. You shouldn't not directly say that, oh, you're a fallen soul, you're a demon. No. He respects Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. He glorifies rather, the same Vamana as Varaha Avatar and then, Narsingha Avatar killed both Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. But look at the description in the 19th chapter. So Vamana takes a very humble stand and then he glorifies Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And of course, he glorifies Prahlad Maharaj. They are all the ancestors of Bali Maharaj. So that he's happy, And then it's true, he glorifies their strength. And then he says how different avatars took different ways to kill them, you know. So when he's sufficiently glorified like that, Bali Maharaj is very happy. Bali Maharaj says that, oh, you look like a small Brahmana, dwarf Brahmana, but what you speak is in-depth wisdom, you know. So he's happy. So when it's like when he's happy, it is invoking goodness in Bali, not any passion. If he's passionate, then he criticizes Vamana. Okay. But he invoked goodness. So and then what Bali Maharaj said, he appreciated Vamana. So that fact, very fact of appreciating God, thanking God, so that itself is increasing his pious credits. So then Vamana asks, what all I need, 3 steps of land. That to not your steps, my steps. He's already a dwarf. And then Bali Maharaj says, oh, I thought you were a intelligent person, but you proved you're very less intelligent. Then he says, if someone is coming to me, They should not go to anybody else for asking. And then what will you gain for 3 steps? This is nice. Bali Maharaj said, O son of Brahmana, your instructions are as good as those of learned and elderly persons. I appreciate that. Nonetheless, you are a boy and your intelligence is insufficient. Thus, you are not very prudent in this regard to your self-interest. So he ultimately is a demon. So he knows, first my self-interest, my body. So those who think of immediate pleasures, so that is uh, not a divine quality. So you think about your body first. That's what was the training. So he's saying that these are some very very nice principles which Vamana Dev says, which are very important in our life. What do we need for our satisfaction? Hmm. Vamana says, if we are not satisfied with limited, how can we be satisfied with unlimited? Vamana says, oh, you say you give me one land, one island. There are Saptadvipa, 7 Dvipas. You say you can give me one island. But after I get that one island, I'll think, how will I get all the remaining 6 islands? So I should be happy. If I'm happy, I will be happy even with a small amount. So let's read these three. The personality of Godhead said, "Oh my dear King, even the entirety of whatever there may be within the 3 worlds to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled." So first thing is telling that satisfaction comes with sense control. So control our senses, then anything is available around us, we will be satisfied. Senses are uncontrolled, the entire world is not enough. That's what is happened with Hiranyakashipu. Just only one Prahlad was against him. So and he that made his life hell. He had the entire universe under his control. Only one Prahlad. So if I were not satisfied with the 3 pieces of land, then surely I would not be satisfied even with possessing one of the 7 islands, the Saptadvipa, consisting of 9 Varshas. Even if I possessed one island, I hope to get others. A Brahmana who is satisfied with whatever is providentially obtained is increasingly enlightened with spiritual power. But the spiritual potency of a dissatisfied Brahmana decreases as fire diminishes in potency and water is sprinkled upon it. So it's a very important thing even in our lives also. So we are supposed to be of Brahminical nature while practicing spirituality. Observe these principles of, um, satyam, saucham, austerity, truthfulness, cleanliness, all these things. So these all come, so when we are satisfied with whatever we have, okay, so then that will help us to focus on, spiritual advancement. So, okay, of course, Shukracharya says that Bali Maharaj yields. Okay, fine. If you say like that, we are ready. We are ready. And then Shukracharya says, "Stop, Bali. Don't do this." And then Bali Maharaj says so many big reasons, so many reasons why it is okay to walk back from the promise, because uh, Bali Maharaj already says, "Okay, I'm ready to give whatever you want." You ask. Now Shukracharya is saying that walk back from that particular promise. It's okay sometimes. In some certain situations you can lie. Don't worry. So he has his own set of arguments, Shukracharya. But Shukracharya's arguments are based on bodily identification, sense gratification, which didn't go well with Baliparaj. So So he says to, Shukracharya that, O best of the Brahmanas, certainly great demonic kings who were never reluctant to fight enjoyed this world, but in due course of time, everything they had was taken away except their reputation, okay, by which they continue to exist. In other words, one should try to achieve a good reputation instead of anything else. So he's saying that you are taking me to go back on my word. What matters more is a reputation. So you want me to ruin that reputation? So yeah. So then he said no, and then he wanted to go ahead, and Shukracharya cursed the person who made him alive, with the person who made him do all the yajnas, and the person, because of that person they could conquer the heavenly kingdom, and he cursed. Now imagine, he just wants to stick to his word. And then both his wife comes Vindyavali, and then they take the golden pot, they pour the water, and they offer everything. And then immediately Vamana expands, he covers, the entire lower planetary systems, upper planetary systems with his two footsteps. Yeah, as the Lord took his second step, he covered the heavenly planets, and not even a spot remained for the third step. For the Lord's foot extended higher and higher beyond Mahaloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and even Satyaloka. When Lord's lotus feet touched the heavenly planets, Satyaloka, Lord Brahma took that opportunity. Okay, Lord's lotus feet is here. Let me wash. You can see here, Lord Shiva is, also considering the Charanamrit. Bali Maharaj also honored the Charanamrit. And then here, Brahma is also taking the advantage and then worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. So this is a lesson for us. So Krishna Pad, Vishnu Pad. So devotees are the lotus feet of the Lord, exalted devotees. So we need to take every opportunity to worship them by following in their instructions. Now this is a familiar slide which we visited in the beginning. What happens? Seeing Vamana conquering all the lands, everything occupied, the demons felt, the followers of Bali felt, oh, our master is in the vow of yajna. He cannot become angry, but we have to protect our master. This Brahmana is none other than Vishnu. He came in disguise, and then he is defeating our master. He is cheating. So we have to kill this particular Brahmana. And then they started waging war. And of course, the Vishnudutas came, and then they started counterfight. And then clearly, uh, the demonic followers of Bali, they are getting killed. So Bali Maharaj starts telling them, relax, now is not the time to fight. When time was favoring us, we ruled the heavenly kingdom. Now time is not favoring us. Now the Supreme Lord is favoring the Devatas. So we can't go against the will of the Supreme Lord. No. So now it is important. Time is not favoring us. So we have to hold back. So this is very important. You see, how matured, leader guides the entire community. So he stopped all the demons from attacking Vamana unnecessarily because there's no point. Supreme Lord himself decided that now the heaven should go into the hands of Devatas. So this is very important. Now, after the entire uh, drama is done, I mean the yajna, the fighting, and then everything is done. Where it was lacking, what Lord wanted to do. So this is very important. What Lord wanted to convey out of all this. So people start coming, and then uh, the thing is like, so there is no third place for third step. And then Bali Maharaj promised. Now he is not able to fulfill the promise. So the yajna they have completed, but Bali Maharaj is still, in debt. So now let's see what happens. O King, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vaman then spoke to Bali Maharaj. Vamana is asking, the most liberal and celebrated personality whom he had arrested with the ropes of Varuna because he is still in debt. He couldn't keep his promise. Bali Maharaj had lost all bodily luster, but he was nonetheless fixed in his determination. You see, that same luster, because of that, he could conquer the heavenly planet. Now all the luster is removed because he could not, you know, uh, fulfill his promise to a Brahmana. So he displeased a Brahmana. So that's what the timing which Brihaspati told in the earlier thing. Okay, because you have been unable to give charity according to your promise, the rule is that you should go down to live in hellish planets. Therefore, in accordance with the order of Shukracharya, your guru also cursed anyway that you will be bereft of your opulence. So you have to go into the hellish planets and live. So he's teasing, he's tough. Vamana is tough with his own devotee. Imagine the devotee has, gave up his spiritual master, but still Vamana is tough, Lord is tough. So Lord is really, when he tests, he really tests. So being falsely proud of your positions, this is very important. Being falsely proud of your possessions, you promised me to give land. Whose land it is? You promised me to give me land. Whose land it is? You could not fulfill your promise. Therefore, because of your promise was false, you must live for a few years in hellish life. Bali, he was openly ashamed. He's a king. He's the supreme strong person in the entire world at that particular time. Everybody referred to him. And then Bali was embarrassed. And he was bound. And then he's being judged. Now let's see, although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is superficially seen to have acted mischievously, Shukadeva was telling, Lord is acting mischievously. Krishna always does that mischief. So here Vamana is doing mischief with Bali. Bali Maharaj was fixed in his determination. No, no, sir, I'll keep up my promise. Considering himself not to have fulfilled his promise, he spoke as follows. O best of the personality of Godhead, most worshipful for all demigods. If you think that my promise has become false, I shall certainly rectify matters to make it truthful. I cannot allow my promise to be false. Please, therefore, place your third lotus footstep on my head. So this is the complete surrender of Bali. All the Mahajans, different Mahajans are glorified for different anga on limbs of devotional service. Bali Maharaj is glorified for Atmani Vedanam. He completely surrendered himself. Is the hero of this particular pastime is Bali Maharaj of Mahajan. And then people think, oh, Bali is cheated by Vamana and then everything. What is real protection? In fact, Lord says, I have protected you. From what? So here, Prahlad Maharaj, his grandfather, and his wife are also telling, things Brahma is telling. So Prahlad Maharaj says that, my dear, you see what Prahlad Maharaj is taking. My lordship, my lord, it's your lordship who gave Bali this opulence. And now today it's you who have taken it. You have acted with equal beauty in both ways. Whether you give or you take, it is good. Why? Because his exalted position as a king of heaven was putting him in the darkness of ignorance. Bali is going in the darkness of ignorance because of his king, of heaven. You have done him a very merciful favor by taking away his opulence. Yasyam by anugrahnami harishe tad dhanam shane. Sometimes when we think these are our possessions, I'm rich, I'm knowledgeable, I'm smart, I'm beautiful. Sometimes Lord takes it away. So that is also mercy of the Lord. His wife comes and he says, people think, in Vindhyavali, his wife comes, people think we are the boss. We are the possession of the land and possessor of the land. But Lord, you are merciful. Please, you are the shelter of such people who think they are the possessor of all the wealth. And then Brahma comes to the rescue and says that, Lord, enough, don't punish him more. Brahma is like most dear is. So he's also one of the Mahajanas, Swayambhu. He says, please, Lord, don't punish him more. Because when he offered his charity, there is more very important, without duplicity, without any dvandva, he offered, genuinely he offered to you, so you should appreciate that, Lord. Don't punish him more. So then Lord glorifies. These are the last two slides, 2 or 3 maybe. No, don't misunderstand me. So let's see what Lord is saying. In fact, Lord is saying Bali was following all the principles properly. I'm very happy with Bali. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Lord Brahma, because of material opulence, a foolish person becomes dull-witted and mad. He has no respect for anyone within three worlds and defies my authority. To such a person, I show special favor by first taking away all his possessions. Because of his great tolerance, Bali Maharaj, I have given him a place not obtainable even by the demigods. He will become the king of heavenly planets during the period of Manu known as Savarni. Again, so again he will get heavenly planets, but that's for a much more longer time. Savarni Manu. So he will be the actual Manu, He will be the Indra, I guess. So this is what Lord is taking temporarily, but is giving him much more, And then till that time being, let's see, till that time being, because Shukracharya also asked, so to go to the lower planetary systems. Until then, Bali goes to the Sutala planet or the lower planet. What is this lower planet all about? The planet was made by Vishwakarma, according to my order, as a great heavenly architect. Because it is especially protected by me, so the planet is protected directly by the Lord. People are free from mental and bodily miseries. So this is very important. Even in Indraloka, mental miseries are there. But in Sutala, there is not even a mental misery. Forget about bodily misery. Fatigue, dizziness, defeat, and all other disturbances. Indra gets defeated many times, but Bali doesn't get defeated. You see what blessings, Krishna is, Vamana Devi is giving. Bali Maharaj, you may now go there and live peacefully. Oh Bali Maharaj, now you may go to that planet Sutala, which is desired even by demigods. Live there peacefully, surrounded by your friends and relatives. All good fortune to you. What more? He says that on the planet Sutala, not even predominating deities of other planets, what to speak of ordinary people, will be able to conquer you. So he cannot be defeated there. As far as the demons are concerned, if they transgress your rule, my Sudarshan will kill them. Okay. And the Lord personally stays. O great hero, I shall always be with you and give you protection in all respects, along with your associates and paraphernalia. Moreover, you will always be able to see me there. So Lord is personally present. What else is needed? Um, because there you'll see my supreme prowess. This is very important. The conclusion, benediction, prime benediction to Bali Maharaj. Because there you'll see my supreme prowess, your materialistic ideas and anxieties that have arisen from your association with demons and danavas will immediately be vanquished. So this is the negative effects of associating with the demons and other people. So those negative effects will be suppressed because the association of the Lord. In Kali Yuga for us, we are in a world where, the unfavorable tendencies most of the people have uh, don't have positive inclinations towards bhakti. So till the time we associate with the Lord and his devotees, so all these negative effects can be subdued. So even in the time of Bali Maharaj pastime, Vaman is giving the same benediction. The same benediction is applying to all of us also, that whatever may be our unfavorable association, so those impact will be subdued by taking, strong association of Lord and in his devotees. So yeah, so that is the conclusion of the pastime. So we saw, to summarize, so we saw Bali Maharaj, was rescued by Shukracharya. He worshipped Brahmanas and he got strength, and then he conquered the heavenly planets. And Indra and then all the demigods were advised, at the advice of Brihaspati, they left. And we saw the greatness of Kashyapa in engaging his wife in the service of the Lord. And then Lord Vishnu blessed her, and then Lord Vamana appeared. Lord Vamana came to Bali Maharaj. He glorified his ancestors, very much. That's the etiquette, of approaching a great person, a ruler. So Vamana followed those. Vamana was very sensitive. And Bali Maharaj followed all the principles of respecting Brahmanas, washed his feet, following the footsteps of Shiva. And then finally the interactions happened, and then Vamana overpowered Bali Maharaj, and then Bali Maharaj was taken into custody. And then the glories of Bali Maharaj were revealed, how he is determined to keep his word, even at the expense of uh, mm, getting cursed by Shukracharya, getting humiliated by his wife, his grandfather Prahlad Maharaj. So, but ultimately, Lord is very compassionate. So he gave him good benedictions far more than the demigods could get. So this is how Lord is compassionate, and then the devotees are always caring for the others, and then the exalted Bali Maharaj is always ready to serve the Lord in the mode of Atmanivedanam, complete surrender. Thank you all so much for your patient hearing. Hare Krishna. Any suggestions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Yes, if anybody has any questions, definitely you can keep that in mind. So give me 2 minutes. I will just make some few announcement. So as we have every Wednesday, this is our website, it's on Bergen County. You can visit for updated informations. And as every Wednesday, we have Wednesday Sangha. So today, as His Grace Krishna Dashi Prabhu gave a wonderful session on lessons and Vamana pastimes. And this coming Sunday, we have in person, very special speaker. This coming is Grace Chakravarti Prabhu. So please do not miss this association this coming Sunday. And we have weekly Bhakti Vriksha that is happening every Friday in different locations. And devotees would like to have some association, close devotee association. This is the perfect place to be. And every Monday to Friday, there is Bhagavad Gita reading, 12 p.m. to 12:15 p.m. And every morning, actually, we have japa, so 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. So devotee can join and participate in chanting holy name together with devotees. This is also a wonderful opportunity. At least give some of your rounds and chant with devotees. And you can visit our ISKCON calendar for all the Ekadashi, breakfast, and everything. And all our events are here. So anybody has any questions, please raise hand or they can unmute and ask questions. So I think just wanted to start myself. Atmanivedan is something very, very difficult actually to give up everything, and especially Bali Maharaj, being the king of entire world, and and to somebody just comes for the three step and getting cheated, and also his Guru Maharaj is telling it's not like that is also safe side, like I'm safe because my Guru Maharaj instructed, so I really don't, and he don't know he's a supreme personality of Godhead, but definitely got a hint that is Lord Vishnu himself. But it's very, very actually difficult to give up even certain things in our life to be detached is very, very difficult. And here Bali Maharaj, who is the king of entire universe, even the heavenly planets, and he give up everything and surrender himself. So how can you even develop that kind of that conviction? Actually, I need to surrender. Nothing belongs to me. Ultimately, it belongs to Krishna, right? Because time after we still attached, we're bound. Like I'm still going to hold it for forever, kind of mood. So how can you really develop that kind of attachment and surrender to the Lord?
Yes, Prabhu. I was also meditating. So, of course, he's a Mahajan, so he could exhibit that at a greatest extent. So, one thing is like because of his connection with Prahlad Maharaj, so he could exhibit those, great qualities of highest level of surrender. So that is what I heard, and then so he was having the desires. It's not that so he had the desire to conquer Indra and then get the heavenly planets. So it's not that he's free from desires or something like that, free from material desires, honestly speaking. But the thing is, yes, that particular aspect of Atmanivedam is very much glorified because he did that. And then he could do that because, and then one more thing, what you said is at the expense of spiritual master. So spiritual master was saying not to do, but he could have that intelligence to understand whether spiritual master, what he's saying, is in congruence with the scriptures or with his predecessors. So he could understand what Shukracharya was guiding was not the highest principle. He was speaking on the bodily platform. Clearly, that's what he says. Reputation is more important. So that's where he understood that Shukracharya is not correct. Shukracharya is telling about immediate, so there is a Sura and Asura. Sura means, so long term, happiness. Asura means short term happiness. Shukracharya was telling about short term, immediate, you will lose this material opulence, you will struggle. How can you feed your family? All those things Shukracharya will say. But Bali is very clear. He has that clear intelligence that Shukracharya is telling wrong because fame is more important. People got this kingdom, but they lost also. But fame is more important. So the long term. So he could understand what is long term shreyas and prayers. He could understand, but that intelligence, how it came, because of his association or lineage with Virochana and then Prahlad Maharaj. So that's why he could exhibit that high level of, Atmanivedan. And then, of course, later we see because of that, he will again get the heavenly kingdom, for much more longer time. Officially, he'll become Indra in the Savarna. So the thing is, yes, they did that much. Will we be able to do that much, Atmanivedan? No. Tests come according to our own capacity. Lot tested, basically lot tested. So we will also get some level of things, and then we will be able to exhibit that, provided if our connection to devotees is strong. So that is a simple thing. So to the extent our connection to devotees, spiritual master, scriptures is strong, so we will be able to, exhibit that sort of Atmanivedan. And this is just some understanding.
Thank you so much. Anybody else has a question? Kiri Prabhu, yeah.
So, question is, why the Lord took take the Vaman form? What does it signify, or what is it trying to tell? Why
Yes.
Vaman and not regular size or Kshatriya? I mean, he was Brahmana, but why just a tiny Brahmana?
Yes.
What does it tell?
Yes, bro. So there is simultaneously Lord is performing lot of pastimes. So Lord is appearing as a son of Aditi, so not immediately as a grown up. He wants to attract the attention, he wants to invoke motherly affection in Aditi. So Aditi performs some service. Not only just Aditi, like we said, we skipped, we didn't get a chance to, discuss all those. All the devatas, they come and then they offer various things. Mother Parvati offers the first Bhiksha. So it's like invoking, parental mode in most of the devatas. So that's the main purpose here, So Lord Vamana does that. And then when he, to attract the attention also, and then when as a child you come, no, so immediately you'll attract attention, and the child with so much effulgence, immediately you'll attract the attention. So that's what Vamana is doing, like a regular Brahmana. Why not? See, the main purpose is he's going as a Brahmana because there he is doing yajna. Our Bali Maharaj is doing yajna. So Brahmanas are allowed to come and then collect charity. So that's the purpose. So Brahmana, he has to come as a Brahmana. But when you come as a dwarf, young Brahmana, so then you will attract attention, small boys, and they speak a lot of wisdom. In other scriptures, it is told he's expert in music, he's expert in logic. He goes various things, happening in that yajna. He goes everywhere and then he charms the people in the yajna. So a small boy charming is much more interesting. So that's why Lord took the form of small boy. And then even Ratnavali, the sister of Bali Maharaj, also feels that motherly affection and then a lot of things. So he wants to feed him her own breast milk. So Lord wants to perform all those pastimes, invoke those feelings. So that's why he has come as a small boy. I
I heard a different take on that if you want to hear.
Sure.
That the person who is a giver, giving is big, like is perceived as who is great, the person who is giving, not a taker. But now the Lord is asking for the stuff. So whenever you become a taker, you diminish yourself and you go lower. So that would be the reason Vamana is representing the form of someone who is like asking all the time. This might be the only time the Lord ever asks, and that also on the behalf of a devotee. A God is a God, but when he becomes begging or asking, then he becomes a little in that significance is that. That's what I heard, and that makes sense.
Yes, bro. Yeah, that makes sense. When you are asking, you try to be humble, you try to bend down, assuming a dwarf position as a small position in front of, yeah, physically. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam, Mr. Prabhupada. I have
Mm.
one question regarding the lineage, the kul of Prahlad Maharaj and Vali Maharaj. So they were in Daita kul, demonic lineage. So,
Yes.
but they were the two exalted devotees, both of them Mahajanas. So, does it have an import? Does it have an extrapolation to children born in demonic families that we see around today? What made, of course, there's a Leela, Lord's Leela, but if we can some of the imports be applicable to the children born in demonic families that you see around today's world?
Yeah. I mean, see, like again, Prahlad Maharaj in his prayers also, he many times uh, says he's unqualified because he's born in Asura Kula. So Asura, so when we say Diman, Danava, Daitya, all these things, Asuras, they are after short-term happiness. So when we translate that into the modern day world, so yeah, people who are just running after immediate happiness, not thinking about the larger picture. So especially when Srila Prabhupada came, so all the most of the Western world is after their hippies, just happiness, short-term happiness, immediately what gives me happiness. So yeah, they were there like that, but then Srila Prabhupada transformed them, and then so even those asuras can be transformed by the power of the holy name. So Prahlad Maharaj, and then their lineage, they're great devotees from those who change from hippies to devotees, and then their children. So they're also, some of them are very great devotees. On the other hand, there are sons of Varadev's son. Varadev and Bhumi's son is Narakasura or Bhaumasura, I guess. So he became a demon. So Lord's son became a demon. Imagine. So it can happen either ways. So demon's son can become devotee and Lord's son can become demon. So yeah, sometimes it's Lord's personal pastime involved, but sometimes yeah, it is the samskaras and then intervention of great devotees. Anything can happen. I mean, in this Kali Yuga, though, definitely anything is possible. I don't know if this is the exact question you asked, Prabhu.
Yes, yes, samskar and association.
Yeah,
Those are the keys. Yeah. Thank you very much.
thank you.
So I think perfect. Thank you so much, Prabhu. I think no questions. So we're very, very thankful. Again, everyone can unmute and please thanks, Prabhuji, with loud Haribo. Haribo, Haribo, Haribo,
Haribo.
Vacha kalpataru
Haribo.
kripa sindhu Ananta Kori Vaishnavinda ki jai, Prabhupada ki
Jai Ho.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.